Hello, Tumwater families and staff. I hope you're well and enjoying summertime despite the unusual circumstances. As you may know, school districts across the state are pouring their energy into finding a safe way to return students to school in September. In Tumwater School District, groups of administrators, teachers, and staff have been working together to look at instructional models, developing safety protocols, and setting up sample classrooms to envision how we would safely return students to school this fall. At the same time, we're receiving impassioned pleas from parents, staff, and community members about the reopening of schools. Some of these messages implore us to reopen our classrooms. These messages cite the damaging impacts of keeping students at home, loss of learning, loss of social connection, the strain on mental health, and the damaging economic impact on our families and our country when schools are closed. Other messages implore us to remain fully online when school starts. These messages cite the out-of-control spread of the virus in the United States, increasing evidence that children can and do spread COVID-19. Concerns that bringing students to school will increase the community spread of COVID-19 and set back the reopening of our economy, and the fact that many of our employees who serve our students belong to groups that are vulnerable to the damaging and sometimes fatal effects of the virus. Both of these perspectives offer compelling arguments. Personally, I spend most of my waking hours weighing options and trying to figure out the best path forward. I have read and reread every survey comment, every message I've received, and I continue reading articles, studies, and anything I can find on the safety of reopening schools and on the virus in order to try to find the information that will lead us to the best path forward. The bottom line is, this is an ethical dilemma with no clear answer. No matter what we do, some people will be helped and some people will be harmed. Some people will support the decision and others will not. I also recognize we aren't making this decision in isolation. Public health officials will have a very important voice in whether it's safe to reopen schools. Government officials and leaders, state leaders, will have a say in deciding the safety of returning. Last night, we presented, and the Tumwater School Board approved, a planning framework for preparing to open schools in September. This framework recognizes that conditions are constantly changing. Every week, we receive new information about the spread of the virus. New studies are published telling us more about how it's transmitted, and government officials take positions on reopening that influence public opinion. This will continue over the next 6 weeks until school starts on September 9th. This planning framework includes plans for green, yellow, and red scenarios. The green scenario would be appropriate if the spread of the virus has been largely contained. It would allow us to return all students to school with appropriate safety precautions to make sure the virus remains contained. Unfortunately, we see no indication this scenario is even remotely possible in the next 6 weeks. The yellow scenario would be appropriate if we can open schools with reasonable confidence that bringing 50% of our students to our schools at a time with rigorous safety protocols can limit the spread of the virus among students, staff, and community. The red scenario becomes necessary when the spread of the virus in the community is such that bringing students back to school is unsafe, resulting in the need to have students participate in a 100% remote learning model. A remote learning model that I should say is substantially improved from the emergency distance learning model that was put in place following the closure of schools in March. Right now, we're working with community health officials to determine whether the transmission rate of the virus in our community puts us in the yellow or red category of this planning framework. If it's yellow, we're planning to follow an A-B day schedule with half of our students, Group A, attending in school on Monday and Tuesday, while Group B participates in remote learning. On Wednesday, all of our students would participate in remote learning while we clean our schools and our staff have time to support the online and remote learning work. On Thursday and Friday, Group B would be in school while Group A participates in remote learning. This model was identified as a preferred option after a process that included review of a number of different instructional models by teachers and administrators, as well as the input provided by over 1,900 people who participated in surveys and sent us feedback in other ways. From this feedback, it's also very clear we need to improve our remote learning for the sake of our students. This spring, I heard stories from parents and others about staff members who went to extraordinary lengths to support their students and did amazing work at remote learning. At the same time, From the surveys conducted this summer, we've heard that our community does not believe, as a whole, that emergency remote instruction provided this spring was good enough. This summer, we've been planning and offering professional development to help teachers learn improved ways to teach online. We've been standardizing the online learning management systems we'll use to make access easier for our families. While we know remote learning simply does not provide the same quality of experience as in-person instruction, we are committed to doing the very best we can to make remote learning a positive experience for students until we can return to full in-person instruction. In addition to our regular school programs, we will also offer Tumwater Virtual Academy, a 100% virtual option for students and families who are seeking a different, home-based learning option. TVA will be supported with Tumwater teachers using curriculum provided in partnership with K-12 Fuel Education. We will soon host a parent information night for those interested in considering this option. Please visit our website for more information and updates. We know you need a firm answer as soon as possible to begin making plans for school starting in September. We know this decision has a huge impact on all of our families and all of our staff members. I cannot express how seriously we take the importance of providing the best options we can for our staff and our families, and making decisions that balance the safety, learning, and well-being of everyone. Thank you for your patience as we work through the most difficult decision I think we've ever faced as educators. We will follow up as soon as we have more information from our public health partners that will support an informed decision on the reopening of school. Take care and stay healthy.